Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Orr. Desmond Ritter was absolutely terrible. I know the offensive line was awful. The whole offense was awful. We can talk about Arthur Smith, the offensive line. But this is about Desmond Ritter. He was very bad in week 3. And overall, over a 7-week sample size, I know people say, oh, he's showing improvement. I don't really know where the improvement is. I mean, maybe slightly, but it's been very, very marginal. I mean, we're talking about very, very little improvement. And I'm not saying you have to all of a sudden go from 0 to 107 starts, but there's nothing really that's looked inspiring about Desmond Ridder outside of maybe that fourth quarter against the Packers. And that's a lot of football for him to just have one quarter where you're just hanging on to. It's like, is that what he's going to be? Or is he the other guy for all the other quarters? But is it too early to start talking QB change? I think we both agree on this. And I think I know what you're going to say, but you can go ahead and start.
Yeah, it's way too early. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy talk. Listen, the Falcons are a playoff caliber roster. There's no doubt about that. And I think it's still probably the weakest division in football. They had 3 2-0 teams coming into week 3. All 3 lost in embarrassing fashion. The Falcons were dominated. The Bucs stood no chance against the Eagles, and the Saints blew a 17 or 18 point lead to the Packers.
17-point lead, yeah.
So all of the team and Derek Carr's hurt. So the division is still up for grabs, and a lot of Falcons fans, a lot of football fans, college, NFL, are very doom and gloom. That's not the case. There's going to be up and downs with a young quarterback. He's showing young early season mistakes and struggles. We cannot talk about his struggles without giving context to the situation. As you mentioned, the offensive line was absolutely horrible. In fact, I believe it's the primary catalyst to the offensive shortcomings. You could have your own opinion about it, but I don't think Desmond Ridder is the problem, though he is not the solution. That's a topic for a different day. Quarterback changes out of the question, in my opinion. We're still several weeks away from even mentioning it because he needs time to develop. Show me one quarterback that's figured it out in 7 games. Like, we were all crowning Kenny Pickett this offseason for his preseason performances as, he's the next wave. And he's looked very, very shoddy thus far in this season. So it's only been 7 games. Let's take a breath and analyze it for what it is. Desmond Ridder has not proven to be the guy, but he also deserves more opportunities to prove whether he is or isn't. And like I said, the offensive line is by far, to me, the biggest disappointment of this season. We could talk about Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Arthur Smith not getting those guys the ball, his decision-making. But it's the offensive line, in my opinion. And though Desmond Ridder needs to be better, the 2 things I notice in particular when I watch games, and I've watched the Lions game one time through again, is the decision-making and accuracy. Those 2 things only get better with experience and the confidence in himself, knowing the playbook, knowing what Arthur Smith wants, knowing what the defense is showing them. All of those things only come with experience. And he's not going to get – development in this league, in the NFL, is never linear. I say that a lot. What I mean by that, it's not steady growth. It's going to be up. It's going to be down. It's going to be shot. It's going to be down. So we just have to be patient with Desmond Ridder. Listen, we ran into a buzzsaw. The Lions were ready to play. They were ready to stop the run. They did that. The Falcons got behind the chains early. And when you're dealing with, 3rd and 8 and more with a shoddy offensive line, you're not going to have much success. It's that simple.
Yeah, I don't think we're close to a quarterback change either. I mean, listen, I'm the last person on the Desmond Ridder fan club. I'm not on there. I might be as far as possible, but I also realize that the Falcons. Listen, Taylor Heineke, could they be better with them? Maybe, but does that really matter? Does that really matter in the long term, like grand scheme of things when you're trying to build a roster and stuff like that? I mean, the reality of the situation, and Falcons fans have to realize, is that we're still looking at least a year down the road, if not 2 to 3 years down the road. And we got to see what we have in Desmond Ridder well before we just go to a guy that we know Taylor Heineke is a below average quarterback, but like he could be a starter in this league. Like, we know what he is. Like, yes, maybe he gives us a better chance to win. And maybe if after 9 weeks we're 4-4 and Desmond Ridder has continued to look like crap and like they want to go for the playoffs, maybe that's something that you can start considering. But like, yeah, we're at least 5-6 weeks ahead. I mean, at the end of the day, we're 2-1. And the other thing, like you said, you ran into a buzzsaw. I mean, this is the NFL. Like, there are weeks where you're not prepared to play. You don't game plan correctly. The Lions came in with a great game plan. They have run-stopping safeties. They stacked the box, played single high, and dared Desmond Ridder to beat him. And that's what the Falcons actually tried to beat him, especially at the beginning of the game, which is why they didn't. They couldn't. And I think some of it, as much as we want to blame it all on Ritter and the offensive line, some of it is on these wide receivers because none of them can create separation. Like I don't watch the all 22, but I guarantee you go look, there are not a ton of like wide open wide receivers in all these situations, especially the first option, because they're not getting separation. And like we said, there might be something wrong with Pitts. Drake London's not really a separation wide receiver. He's more of a jump ball wide receiver. I think there's a lot of things that go into this and a lot of things that need to be figured out after just 3 weeks. Like these things have to be figured out. We got punched in the face. They game planned well for us. They stacked the box. They stopped the run. They punched us in the mouth. They played great defensively. We got to come back next week and have answers because guess what? Other teams are going to be watching that. And we're going to face that a lot more. Now, if we can't find the answers in 4 to 5 weeks, okay, then let's have these conversations. But 1 week, let's settle down.
Yeah, it's very disingenuous to try at any level to try and boil down a football team's loss to one person, one unit. It takes 11 guys, and they don't say that for no reason. It's a complex system with a lot of moving parts. It's coaching, it's effort, it's execution, it's everything. So just to say it's on Desmond Ridder or it's on the offensive line or it's on Arthur Smith, it's everybody. And guys,
we got to go to break. Coming up after the break, we're going to do 3 overreactions from the loss to the Lions in week 3.